Welcome to Yester Quickies, a speedy culinary trip back in time. Today we're traveling to the 1980s to discover better than sex cake. You're gonna love it. Let's get started. Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by. So today is better than sex cake. It was huge in the 1980s, also known as better than Robert Redford cake or better than insert your sexy idol name here cake. I want to thank Christy T for the request. Do you have a request? Let me know. I will try my best to make it. Okay, so better than sex cake. We have here a yellow cake, already made, already cooled, and we're putting it in a 9x13 pan, just according to the manufacturer's directions. Just make it, let it cool, set it aside. Okay, the next thing we have is an entire can of crushed pineapple. And we're gonna go ahead and put that in a pot. And we are gonna add 1 cup of sugar to it. Now what that's gonna do is it's gonna make your syrup a little bit thicker. So we're just gonna go ahead and cook this until all the sugars dissolve. And you're just gonna let this cook for a little bit until it comes to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we're gonna take it off the fire and let it cool down. Okay, our mixture is boiling, and the reason you add sugar is just so it thickens up some when we chill the cake. So now we're gonna get rid of our heat source, and we're just gonna put this down and let it cool. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna take your standard spoon, take the very end, and start making little holes, not all the way to the bottom, but almost to the bottom. And the reason for this is everything we're about to put on this better than sex cake is gonna go down into the holes and down into the cake, and it's gonna be fabulous. Another option you can do is to just take a knife and just kind of make slits right across the cake, and that's another way for everything to get down into it, but I like this method a whole lot better. Okay, our pineapple has completely cooled, and when I say cooled, I don't mean cold, I just mean room temperature. And here it is, just a tiny bit thicker from all that sugar. So the first layer of our cake, we are gonna take this pineapple, and this is why we do the holes, and we're just gonna pour it all on top and just spread it completely around. Okay. Ta-da! That's one. Let's make the next layer. Okay, the next thing that happens is pistachio pudding. I know, right? So you want 1 large box of pistachio pudding, but I didn't have 1 large box. For some reason, everyone's making pistachio pudding right now. So I got 2 small boxes, which is a little bit more than 1 box, but you'll be fine. Whoops. Okay, and to this, you're gonna add 3 cups milk. The instructions will say more, just use 3. And you're just gonna whisk this around. Oh, I love that green color. This is actually very similar flavors to our, to the Waldorf salad. You remember the Waldorf salad. If you didn't, I'll put a link up for you. That's another fabulous dish with the same flavor profiles, but some pretty cool history. Okay, so you're just gonna stir this for maybe about 3 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 2 minutes. You don't want it to completely set. This is instant pudding and it will set, but you want it loose so it also gets into your cake. So here's our cake, and now we're gonna pour our pistachio pudding. Oh my goodness. Are you starting to see why it's received the name it received? All over this cake. And spread that around. Now there is a little waiting game for this, but we'll get back to that. Okay, next, I have about 1.5 cups of flaked coconut. If you don't like coconut, leave it out. This is totally customizable. As a matter of fact, you can probably change up the flavor of the pudding. If you're not a pistachio fan, you can use vanilla. So I don't think I'm gonna use the entire 1.5 cups because this is already looking pretty darn good. Okay, our next layer, the classic. Whipped topping, a huge staple of the 70s and a pretty big staple of the 80s. So all I'm gonna do is take this whipped topping and spread it all over this glorious cake. Make sure it just goes on top. And if a little bit of pudding mixes in or a little bit of coconut mixes in, you will be just fine. Okay. There's our whipped topping layer. We've got 2 more to go. You're gonna need a 1/2 cup of pecans to sprinkle on top. I always like to toast mine first in a dry pan just like this for maybe about 4 or 5 minutes, just until they start getting warm. It really brings out the flavor so much better. And then you just chop them with a knife. You can chop them rough, you can chop them fine. I kind of like just like a medium because it just has a perfect crunch to it. To make this super pretty, you're gonna need some cherries. We're gonna just drain 1 jar of just standard maraschino cherries. And you're gonna wanna just turn on your cold water and just give them a little rinse. Trust me, there's plenty of sugar in there and you are not gonna miss a thing. And from there, you're just gonna cut these little cuties in half. Okay, then we're gonna take those chopped nuts that we toasted and sprinkle them all around this cake. Does it get any better? Well, it's gonna get 1 step better. And then you're gonna have to play a little waiting game. But you wanna make sure these nuts are all around because this just adds a beautiful crunch. Now, if you want, you could use pistachios since you have the pistachio pudding. Okay, and then finally, we're gonna take those beautiful little cherries that we cut in half, and you are just gonna decorate your cake. Just anywhere you like, but you wanna make sure that a cherry will fall into every single piece you cut. So I'm not gonna use all the cherries. I still have quite a bit more, but these things just refrigerate beautifully. And I'm sure you can find use for them, especially if you have some ice cream sundaes in your future. Okay, look at that thing of beauty. Now we're gonna take this, and this is the waiting game. We're gonna put this in the fridge for 3 to 4 hours because we wanna give it plenty of time to absorb all the juices and all the pudding and all the fabulousness. So we'll be back when that happens. Okay, here is our cake. Would you look at this gorgeous thing? Oh my God, I'm telling you, if someone brought this out at a party, I would be very happy. So you might as well be that person. All right, and I know you want to see the inside, so we are gonna cut into this better than sex cake, better than Robert Redford cake, better than insert your sex symbol here cake. It's just pistachio, pineapple, look at that. Absolute gloriousness. Can I get that? Oh, look at that. That, my friends, is fabulous. Oh, that is so good. That is so good. I mean, you see the layers in there? Seriously, I am in love. Make this cake for yourself and see what I'm talking about. Seriously, you'll be in love too. Thank you for traveling to the 1980s with me. This was amazing. If you make any one of my recipes, I'd love to see it. Please tag Yester Kitchen on Instagram. It would make my day. I'll see you in the next video.